Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Here's your meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. Well, there it is. If there wasn't ever a legitimate warning sign, then here it frickin' is. Adam Schiff basically gives the entire game away. You know, I know many Republicans treat the filibuster as if it's some sort of sacred norm. It's an American tradition, even though it didn't always exist. But really, if you think about it, as I've been mulling this over, holding that stance is nice and all from a point of virtue signaling, but does it really matter if the Democrats don't feel the same way? They don't at all. You know, when it comes to blocking Republicans, they pretend as if the filibuster is an important tool in Congress and blah, blah, blah. But when they want to bulldoze their agenda, and trust me, Democrats have no freaking issue undoing norms or even engaging in the most despicable corrupt actions to bulldoze their agenda. And so when it's their turn, they'll nuke it like it was nothing. They'll continue saying the same thing they've been saying, that it's a Jim Crow relic of the past. And so at this point, if you don't believe Democrats won't torch the filibuster the second they're in power, well, you're simply not paying attention. And Adam Schiff basically just gave it all up. He just admitted he's not even going as far as these other dishonest Democrats, pretending as if the filibuster must be saved at all cost. No, wait till you see what he said. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so just take a look at this moment here with Adam Schiff.
When you were running for Senate, you came out against the filibuster. If that comes to the Senate floor, will you vote for it?
I have continued to oppose the filibuster and would be happy to do away with the filibuster. But the question is, do away with it for what reason? I would do away with it so that we can expand and protect people's freedoms and their rights. The Republicans and the president right now are talking about doing away with the filibuster so they can raise people's health care costs. That is the wrong reason to do away with a filibuster. And ultimately, what's going to protect the American people, frankly, are not Senate Republicans who give in to this president all the time, not House Republicans who are not even on the job, not the president, certainly not the Supreme Court. That is his biggest rubber stamp. But what we saw on Tuesday, and that is the voters coming out and rejecting Republicans, rejecting health care increased costs, rejecting a president who's more focused on his personal enrichment than he is on trying to help people who are hungry.
He basically admits it. He would be happy to nuke the filibuster, just, he doesn't see the purpose right now. No, of course not. I wonder what's stopping him, right? Trump being in power, obviously, Republicans being in control. Your party's not in power, so you can't end the filibuster and abuse that position, but you would be open to ending the filibuster at some point in time. That's the frickin' tell, folks. When they can wield this tool as a weapon to stop the Trump mandate, suddenly they're philosophers of restraint. Oh no, we would never. We must practice restraint and do the right thing. But it's a freaking lie. And Democrats are dying to rule by 51 votes. They're dying for it. Barack Obama's been talking about it forever. Hakeem Jeffries has been calling this thing a relic of the Jim Crow era for years. Adam Schiff, pretty much every Democrat, 49 of them, by the way, voted to nuke it just not so long ago. And yet now all of a sudden, they're not sure, right?
One of the things that he has been talking about for the last couple of days more intensely is getting rid of the filibuster. That's actually something that you wanted to do when Joe Biden was president and things were getting through the Senate.
Look,
is that an area where you agree with him?
We don't need a procedural fix at this point.
So you wanted the filibuster to be ended when Biden was president, but now, no.
You know, I'm not in the Senate, so I've got no say in that.
Yeah, back when they wanted to ram through Joe Biden's agenda or using Joe Biden as a puppet to pass all of their frickin' slush fund hopes and dreams, they were arguing to drop it. And really, keep in mind, the only reason the rule survived is because 2 Democrats broke rank. Well, that's no longer the case. Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, they've already essentially been exiled from the party. And that right there is another warning sign.
The president is 100% right about this, and he wants Republicans to get tough and get smart. And we know that if Democrats, God forbid, are ever given the keys back to power in Washington, D.C., they will end the filibuster. 49 of them in their party already voted to do it. The only reason it got held up is because 2 voted against, and those 2 are no longer here. They got run out of town by radical leftists who have totally taken over the party. So the president is saying we have 3 years of me in the Oval Office to do everything the American people want us to do. Let's take advantage of this historic opportunity, get rid of the filibuster now before the Democrats can do it, and pack the Supreme Court, make Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. states, and all of these other radical ideas that they want to implement. It's the right strategy, and it's based on reality, and the current opposition to the Republican Party is truly the most radical left party.
We know that if Democrats gain power again, they will end the filibuster. For 49 of them already voted for it. And now they've got rid of the dissenters. We know that the party has shifted further left. They're totally captured by the radical left that just wants them to sabotage, fight, resist. That's the new religion, right? That all these Democrats are speaking to. That's the reason they're shutting down the government today. That's the reason Gavin Newsom's freaking red in the face and doing all these ridiculous hand gestures, because they know that's what their voters want. Their voters are okay with everything. Jay Jones threatening to kill Republicans. Yeah, oh yeah, hell yeah. Letitia James weaponizing the justice system, as well as many other people weaponizing the justice system against the President Trump to thwart true American democracy. Everything is okay in the pursuit of the Democrat agenda, in the pursuit of stopping Republicans. I mean, look how many Democrats support bloody murder, literal freaking assassinations. And obviously the Democrat establishment understands this. They understand the new culture. They understand that if they take a principled stance like Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema, their career will end. They will be primaried. They will be exiled from the party. And so we know what's coming. And really, the more I think about it, the more the same thing just keeps coming to mind. You got to do it before they do it. And maybe it's time to do away with some of these old notions of bipartisanship. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the filibuster, right? You got to get Democrats and Republicans to compromise. Well, first of all, when you have that kind of situation, what do you get? You get cruddy bills that don't really accomplish anything. You're essentially hamstrung from being able to pass real reforms. The American people's policy will, the mandate of the people, cannot move forward because the legislation can't move. And this whole notion of bipartisanship, frankly, is dead. It doesn't even exist anymore. Democrats don't want to engage in true bipartisanship. Republicans certainly do, and they did in many cases with Joe Biden. But Democrats want to burn it all down before giving an inch. And again, that has to be the warning sign, because if they ever successfully reclaim power, which they will eventually, that's how politics works, they might even win in 2028. It's not my prediction, I'm just saying it could potentially happen. Well, if they control the Senate, if they control the House, what's stopping them from nuking the filibuster, giving statehood to DC and Puerto Rico? You know, I don't know. I feel like you kind of gotta match your opponent. Otherwise, you're gonna get freaking knocked out. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to take a little bit of a cue from Democrats. This notion of playing tough and playing to win, that's exactly what Democrats are doing at any and all cost. Well, if that's what they're doing, you have to answer in kind, because you know they won't take the principled path. They will burn it all down in their attempt to regain control. Make the moves necessary before they can. And you know what? While you're in that position, use it for good. Pass pieces of policy that potentially create checks and balances and thwart their aggressive agenda. Secure American elections. Use it for good, because we know Democrats won't. And you know, it really feels, especially after listening to what Adam Schiff said there, that Republicans are left with really no other option. Do something before it's too late. But of course, whether or not that happens is way above my pay grade. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.